CoStar is a commercial real estate platform. Whoever probably, if you're not knowing about CoStar, that means you are not in commercial real estate. Okay. We have been in business for 35 years. Multifamily data, what you guys are concerned about, comes in. The rent trends comes in from apartments.com, which is also our sister firm, which is a marketing platform. So anybody who's looking to rent apartment is putting their property up there, and that feeds into our trends, and you get an actual where the trends are going. So our forecasting modulation models would help you forecast your trends for rent growth, and you can purchase your property with ease and confidence. That's number one. Number two, now residential homes, because of homes.com, whenever they are members listing, they automatically gets sent out to apartments.com. So that's an added advantage to apartments to get the trend thing, and to our members on home site to get more qualified leads for them. Now I'll go back to the agenda that we had today. Today we are going to use CoStar to prospect for getting your off-market properties. If you're an investor, and if you're an agent or a broker or a realtor, you're looking to use CoStar platform to get more listings. All right, there we go. So I'm not going to give you the commentary. I'm just going to click on the properties tab. I'm going to go into my backyard because that's what I know do best. You can go to any other type of vertical. So these are the type of property classification we have. You are here, it doesn't mean that you're not going to do self-storage. You're here, it's multifamily event. It doesn't mean that you're not going to do industrial. You can do all of those. You're not going to do hospitality. You can come in and do all verticals. We are talking multifamily, so I'll stick to multifamily. And I'm looking to see, number one, whatever your appetite is. Okay. You may be working with a clientele like Joseph does. Joseph is working on 100 units plus. You may be working with 10 units plus or 25 and under. Based on your appetite, you can come in and find out the properties that you want to work with. Joseph, is it okay for me to stay under 50, or you want me to go beyond 50? You know
Oh,
your
you can use
program.
under 50 for now. So 10 to 50. Yeah, that's good.
All right. I just wanted to make sure that we are talking to the crowd and not, out of the context. So here we are in Fort Worth, Dallas Fort Worth area, multifamily, 10 to 15 units. We are tracking properties, 1,675 properties. That's what we are tracking. Now you're looking to buy something really quick. We are just going to go to existing and remove the rest of the things. Now the beauty is, when I did existing, it came out 1548. If you are a developer, you can always go proposed and buy that land or a proposed paper from the seller and develop yourself. For the larger crowd, we're just going to stick to existing. Now, the beauty is, this is the properties that we have. Who's going to sell on a current market? On a current market, people who are going to sell are people who bought their properties probably 3 years ago. Now, they may be coming at 5-year term, 4 years ago, 5-year term coming up. What they bought at that interest rate 5 years ago, 4 years ago, is not the same when they need to renew. So let's look at those people who bought that property during that time. So I'm just going to go to my sales comps. I'm going to put a date, and I'm going to put something that works better for me. So I'm just going to put 2019, January 1 to 2021, December 31st. All right, date doesn't matter. So now during that time, 236 properties had changed hand, right? You can see the gray diamonds and the blue diamonds. Blue diamonds are the ones that are really active now, available in a marketplace for people to trade. So that's an active. If you're an active agent, or if you're an active investor, you can always come back in here and say it's listing type for sale and see how many properties are there, 20 up for listed. And if you do not have CoStar access and you are only relying on LoopNet, out of these 20 properties that are up for sale, how many you can see, you cannot see on LoopNet is 6. So you cannot see the 6 properties if you do not have CoStar access, just in DFW market that were sold during that time. I'm not talking about the most of it. Okay. I'm just talking about the ones that were sold in a year and a half period. They're again for sale today, 20 of them. Out of that, 6 of them that you cannot see. So if you're looking at available inventory and you're an investor, you're only able to see 70% of the inventory. You're missing out on 30% of the inventory. How prudent decision-making process that would be? You can answer yourself. So now I'll just go back to the 20 properties and go more into the details. Let's look at those 20 properties. I'll remove those for sale. So this, if you're an off-marketing prospecting guy, you can come in here. I'll just put that self blank, go back to my list, and I can see now for sale. If you're an agent or investor who wants to work with off-market properties, this is really important for you. CoStar can help you do that. Come in here, 20 properties that were up for sale. I'm going to select all of them and I'm going to remove all of them selected. So my result would turn out to be 0. I'm going to quickly go back to my drop down and pull up the listing type as gray. So these are all your off-market properties that was sold during that year and a half period. All right. Now you can go into the details or you can go straight to the owner's profile and see how many of them are private owners or public owners. I just want to go to the private owner and see these are the people who have those properties in here, smaller investors. Now I want to see how many people they have, how properties they have in a search area. So I want to work with the larger people. Wiseman Group, they're from California. They have total 55 properties. They have 3 properties in this search area. So you can click on Wiseman Group. Before you talk to their properties, you want to see what they have been doing. You can come in here and see their transactions. So this is what they have done so far. Let me arrange it by the dates. So what was their involvement in here? So the Wiseman Group has been buying properties in recent years, and they have also been selling properties. Okay, so if they are selling properties, I want to see which market they're selling. So you can highlight those and see this market, Dallas market, they have been selling. Okay, Garland, Texas, Grand Prairie, they have been selling. You can see this here, what's happening in here. Right, so they've been selling few, they have been buying few, so they are active and they may be looking to dispose. And then you can go into their properties and pull up the multifamily. You can look at the market that you want to work with and then start calling them. And I have Arlington property, so I can call them on that property. Now you want to call, you can go into their contacts and find that contact information that you need to call. So now what you have done is you have found out which properties were bought during that time, number 1, based on the appetite that you have. Number 2, what we did, we profiled the seller, what they have been doing, rather than just calling everybody on the neighborhood. Now we found
we discussed yesterday.
Thank you, Joseph. So now we found out that this is the client that's really active in the marketplace. We went in, found out the property that we would like to speak with them. We came back, and now we're looking at the person that we need to speak with. All steps done in less than 10 minutes. And you can make the list of it. Okay. So you want to speak to this people. Let's go in. Let's look at the properties, and I'm going to export the properties and then match them up. So I can go back here, export. I can see what I need, and I can choose what I need. Okay. And export. You can customize the fields that you want to export as well. So that way you can get more information. This is my export file. So it's going to give me the contact information of the ownership group as an export as well. So I'm just going to wait for that to pull in. This is where it's located, details. And we have sale company here. This is not listed. So sale company turned out to be negative. Now, what I needed here when I'm doing export, I needed to add the ownership group. So I needed to add this.
Anil, what's the difference between the true owner and the recorded owner? What's the significance?
Great question, Joseph. Recorded owner could be an LLC. Like Joseph is buying a property which is 237 Southeast 3rd Street LLC. That's the recorded owner on the title. But Joe is the one who's signing the checks. So we are giving you Joe's information and true owner, not the LLC 327. And I can adjust it the way I want it. I can take that to the top, drop it off wherever I want, and then save this layout and export it, and then you would have the similar results. I'll export it. Just keep in mind, at CoStar, everything is exportable, so your export limit is set to 500 max a month per user. All right, so we have that true owner, where the true owner is. This is where the address is for the apartment, but true owner is located here. That's the name of the true owner, and that's the phone number of the true owner. That's your call list. If you have this call list, and if you do not get a listing out of this or a transaction to work out of 234 exports that you did, something is wrong. And that's not the platform. I can tell you that. I have so many people, big brokerage, small brokerage, working on this, and they have always been successful. Any questions? We are keeping everybody muted.
I think it's going great. Couple quick announcements. If anybody is interested to learn more about CoStar and want to talk to Anil about either CoStar or LoopNet or homes.com, we have a link in the chat. There's a little form that we created, so you can fill out that form, and then we will pass your information to Anil, so that way we can all stay organized. The second link is for you to update your own information, because we are starting to do more in-person events and on top of the virtual events that we do here. Our next meeting is coming up in Houston, beginning of August. So if you update that form, then we can invite you when we have local meetings. So we had a meeting in Dallas, I think a couple months ago. I think the next one will be in Houston. And we want to organize these meetings in other cities as well. So please take a minute to update your contact information for us as well. Thank you.
Yes, and please don't forget to ask me those questions. Put all the questions that you have. No question is small or big. We should be good. Now I can go back to the funds. That was the other topic.
Sorry, one real quick question. It says, are the numbers scrubbed again in the DNC list? Just want to put clarification for that. So.
All right. So we are coming back. Two aspects. We looked at the properties to prospect. Now we're going to go and look at the funds. Keep in mind, funds are big fish. So if you're not a big player, funds is not going to help you much. But, some of you could be buying a multi-million-dollar property. So let's come in.
Hold on real quick. And Neil, did you hear me?
Yes,
Uh,
ma'am.
The list that you're getting, the true owner's information, are those scrubbed against the do not call list, or do you then put those through a do not call list?
No, we do not scrub it against DNC.
Thank you.
No worries.
And Anil,
It's
one more question that we get a lot is, I know you showed us how to filter the data based on the sale date. Can you also filter the data based on loan coming due date?
we can definitely do that for a smaller properties under 50. Our filters would work very well with the funds data filters. So when it's a CMBS loan, in other words, so commercial mortgage-backed securities, they have things to declare. So they declare when the what the loan data, when the loan is coming up for renewal and whatnot. So our filters would work really well on that. But if you want to work on those filters, I can quickly go back and see if I can go back to the list and start working on that filters. Okay, so we have
I mean, there's a
260.
lot of interest in that particular data, right? Because right now,
Absolutely. Let's see, we have active loan and single collateral.
Wait, I have a question about the information disclosure. I know that in the US it's very common and you can get it from all kind of different places. But in Canada, I'm in Ottawa, Ontario, and there is restrictions on information. Thank you.
Well, welcome, Canuck. I'm Torontonian, so I like it.
So how do you deal with is it open for Canada, Costar as well?
Yes, Costar Canada has their own filter systems, and whatever the data is showing up on Canada Costar, Canada UK, that complies with the local regulations.
So you don't have that information of the personal owner of the property?
We do.
Uh-huh.
Whatever is in compliance of Canadian regulations. So Canadian regulations doesn't say that you cannot disclose that, right? Canadian economy is more open, more disclosing than American economy. And we can take that question a little off one-on-one, and I'll hook you up with
Galit, just fill out the form. We'll have Anil contact you offline.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Thank
we
you.
came in here, we pulled up the 210 properties that are not listed. Remember, we went back, we pulled up that 210 properties not listed. I came back to the loan filter, looked at the active properties, which are single collateral. All I can see multiple as well is fine. Then I got 38 properties. If I do single, I have got 37 properties. So we'll stick to single. And now you can go in and see if it was special servicing current. That means they are already in trouble. That's not disclosed yet. You can go back and say pay status, 90-day delinquent. Nothing shows up because these are just small properties. They hardly go delinquent in until the renewals are coming in. Now, maturity date. This would be good for you to see if you can get it in next 2 years, next 1 year. Nothing is coming up for next 2 years, next 1 year, next 3 years. We have few coming up for next 3 years, right? So those people next 3 years, when they are looking to renew, they may be looking at a very different rate of interest compared to what they originated from. Now, if you don't want to play with the maturity, I can also see when they were originated. We don't need that filter because we are only looking at the ones that were sold during that time. So let's look at this 37 properties and go into the detail of this property. Joseph, thank you very much for pulling me back rather than going to the funds that may not please a lot of people in the crowd. So thank you. I was just following the data points that we had to discuss. All right, so we come in here. This is their disclosure. They bought it in 2019. The first mortgage is 1.98. So once we have the mortgage, we can also go to the public records and find out more. Let's go financial loan, if we can get loan details in it. So this was, again, data source was CMBS, was updated January 10, 2024. It was 3.9, current balance is 3.079. The original balance was 3.18. Original appraisal came in at 4.7. LTV was this. NOI is this. And the NOI DSCR current, we don't know, but this is when the application was processed, was 1.52. Now, this would be interesting for you all who are really prudent investors. DSCR 1.52, great. The banks love them. As soon as the DSCR falls under 1.15, they got worried. Under 1, they issue a red flag. So it may be a good idea for you to call this owner and say, hey, or you can have your own talk track. I'm not going to give you the talk track to talk. But this is the watch list, March 2024. This was added. The commentary is this. You guys can read.
Perfect. This is great information. So I think that's what everybody should be looking at, right? If the loans are coming due in the next 6 months to a year, we should definitely be calling them, right? Because they are definitely wondering what they can do, right? Obviously they have to sell or refinance, and it's not easy to refinance now based on the current interest rates, right? Unless you have funds to add to the property. And that creates an opportunity for all of us to have these conversations to see how we can help them.
Going back to the Joseph's question, recorded owner, you can see that was the address, and then true owner, that's what it is under that company. But Binit Gupta is the person who's going to sign on all those checks. Okay. As long as I see, when we were running a profile previously, there were a couple of properties that Binit had sold. So if that's the case, you can go back and run it. If he was in a selling mode, if you remember, we had a group that was buying few properties, and this name showed up on the seller side. So he may be looking to sell. If he's looking to sell, do not take the screenshot. Get the subscription for CoStar. I'm just kidding. Call him up. All right.
Take the screenshot fast.
So this is what it is. Another property. You can go into the loan documents, see what we have. DSCR 1.93, nice appraisal value. Performing. They have 59 months remaining. 3.81. It's a fixed pay frequency monthly, interest only partial. So they can survive this. When they're coming up for renewal in 2029, it would be difficult. So we can see this is coming in at 7 years. We can change our search criteria and make that 6 years ago. So that would give you a better result.
The whole idea of Anil, I think we have a lot of people that are here also want to take a look at the funds. So for the funds, there are two perspectives, right? One is I have found a deal. I want to get it funded. So how would I go about finding somebody to help me fund the deal? And second is find out which funds are disposing properties, so we can see if we can get a listing or buy directly from them.
Absolutely. If you had given me that script and questions, I know I could run it better. Anyway, so here we are in funds. Now, Joseph mentioned we are in multifamily. We want to see who is able to buy the property from us if you're looking to sell, or help you with funding a deal. So property focus type, we can see multifamily. That's what we are looking at. I can go back into the filters and put the property that's investing into Dallas-Fort Worth market. So done. That's what I'm looking at. Now, these are the properties who have invested in multifamily here. I want to see who's an active investor. So who has been buying minimum 2 properties within last 6 months. I'm looking at an active person. I'm not looking at people who doesn't want to. Based on your property sizes, whatever size is, I say I'm looking at something which is 5 million plus. You can come back. and say it's 5 million plus funds. So that became 12 out of 180 that we had. Okay. Now I'm done. Now I'm going to check in out of these 12 funds who has money sitting in their account. Waterton has got 124 million sitting in their account. So if you have a property that you would like to sell, you would approach Waterton first. Okay. And you could also raise 48 equity because they are raising fund as of now. So they haven't, your fund requirement is 5 million, could be small, but raise 48 equity may have a requirement for them to pay dividend to their fund participants or a cash flow to provide. So they may like to fund you for now and rather than longer term on a shorter term so you can get the funds. So if you want to do that, then you can go to fund 3 raising, and then you can see whom you need to speak to, or you can look at the transactions and all those details. These are the people that you want to work with. Okay, you can go back and check their transactions. They have been in acquisition mode. They're doing, smallest they have done is 16 mil. Waterton, same way. Avid investor. Have they been buying multifamily lately? Yeah. And you can get in touch with them. Your managing partner out of Chicago, investment relationship guys from Chicago again. So this is where you can.
Quick question. Are you pulling the data from their respective websites, or are you having a researcher call their executives and get specific information direct? So it's current versus a website.
Brian, thank you very much for the question. Great question. We have our own fund information provider. So that's not coming in from their website. Website gets reflected very late.
Got it. Okay. Thank you.
Now we are going to go back, and remember, you want to buy from fund. You may have a private investor office that you are working with, or you are yourself is a big private investor office and you want to work there. You can go in to the funds and look for the funds that are actively disposing of. Joseph, sorry, I'm running 3 minutes over, so I'll finish it up really quick.
No worries.
You're doing awesome.
When you give me 30 minutes, I want to make sure that I don't take more than 30. All right, so we are back in funds, and you can choose the geography, whatever you want. I'll keep my geography here, and I'm going to find the owner who's in a selling mode right now and who has sold 2 of them in last 1 year. And what I'm looking at is I'm on sales transaction, and I want property focus, multifamily. So these are the people who have been selling multifamily. Now you can go and look at the geography that you want to work with, and you can figure it out where you want to work. I'm choosing my location. 23 funds has been disposing properties in DFW. Now you can look at the fund they are disposing. You can find out other properties that they have in the marketplace. So this is their properties, and then you can put they don't have any other property, so there is no point working with them. So they have been selling multifamily lately, but nothing in here. Well, they have been selling one in Calgary for my Canadian friend. So you can come in here, find the active funds that are disposing of the property. Again, go back to the contact information, pull that contact information, get in touch with them. You have the script, and we can just go in from there. I'll end my presentation today. Whatever the questions are there, I'll look into those questions and then reach out to you all one-on-one, and we'll try to answer all those questions before the end of next week. In the meantime, if you need any information, call me 469-410-2875 or email me apatel2@costar.com. And don't forget, homes.com, we have a special running for roimuse and SEBA members, 10% off on your annual membership.